you go. Again. Three. Now knee strong.
Nice.
There you go. Strong.
All right, it is Saturday. I'm compiling a video from last Thursday's sparring session. This will be our fourth sparring session. And both Della and I had a really, really good training. She was able to face her fears, and she got back in there with the girl that put her down really hard. It was the first time she ever really felt like threatened while sparring, and she didn't want to continue that day that she got hit. That was like the first time she really got hit by somebody. And I'm so super proud of her because she was able to get back in the ring. The only funny thing was when she was sparring with her, she kept backing up, and I was like, you know, the ring's not 40 feet long, sweetheart. It was really cute. It was really good to see her get back in there, and I think she's going to wind up being friends with this girl, so that's kind of cool. She was afraid of her at first, the girl that she was sparring, and you'll see it here. She's hitting the mitts right now, and then she spars a couple of kids, and then she goes against a girl who's got a lot more experience. You can tell by they wear like the sash around their waist, which indicates that they've achieved like a level, a rank, if you will. They don't do rankings or belts like Taekwondo, but they will issue belts out to people while they're training to indicate the level of experience they have. So this girl's obviously a lot more experienced than my daughter, but my daughter had 6 months of boxing training from a professional, so she does know how to throw hands. Just the whole thing with the feet kind of screwed her up. I love watching her hit the mitts. You know, her and I did that training so much that it just comes second nature to her. So hitting the mitts, she looks great. Even the coaches says, man, she hits hard. She knows the combos. He just calls the numbers out. She hits them. He didn't have to really train her. So yeah, well, we've been doing that a long time. You start throwing the other stuff in there, and that's where we show our inexperience. It's so much fun. I love learning with my daughter. Like, we go there and, you know, I said, you know, I'm not your dad while I'm here. The coaches are in charge. I said, I'm training just like everybody else. So, you know, I'll film, I'll cheer you on, but I'm not going to give you any kind of advice. You got to ask your coach. She's doing real good, though. And I'm just so happy to see both of my kids. My son wasn't with us tonight or that night, but both of my kids, you know, they're enjoying the training. We left a couple of times. We left Polly's gym, and they were both crying because he's a real hard coach. He's a very serious trainer. You know, you're going to get serious training. But it wasn't fun for them. You know, and at the end of the day, it's like, what are we doing? If you're not enjoying it, you're not going to stick with it. I mean, that's the first principle of anything that you get. Anything you're passionate about, unless you're mentally obsessive like us. Like, sometimes we do things we don't enjoy because we feel compelled to, but generally speaking, if you're going to try to stick with something, you probably should enjoy it. This is that girl that she was afraid to get in the ring again with, and I think the coach told her to kind of, you know, take it easy, you know, don't go so hard. One thing I noticed about the kids is they kind of spaz out, you know. They immediately go to, they're like my little roosters, you know. When I watch my chickens, the roosters, they fight each other, and kids are like that. They don't know how to, they got too many emotions. The second somebody gets them real good, a lot of kids lose it and they get mad. I noticed this with the really, really, really There's a couple of younger kids who are super experienced. Like, they are good. If you watch them, they look like little tiny professional fighters, and they can't be 8, 9 years old. I mean, these kids have obviously been training since birth, and they're amazing. They're amazing to watch. They're always showing off their flashy moves. But I've noticed all three of them, there's three of them that I can think of, they all lose their crap whenever they get hit. Like, when somebody gets them, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if that's a parenting issue. I don't know if there's, like, maybe dad's being a little too hard on them and they just need some encouragement. I don't know if it's like a lack of love in the household, but they literally break down and they turn into Tasmanian devils the second somebody gets, like, the better of them, or if they feel challenged in any way. I noticed that it's like they got real like self-esteem issues, and they're so good. Like, it's just like they're amazing. I don't know if somebody needs to just tell them that. I feel like giving them a hug. Like, come here, buddy. It's okay. It's okay if somebody's better than you. If somebody gets you. You don't have to be the best. Get that chip off your shoulder. You don't want to carry that into adulthood. That's why we're screwed up. We didn't have dads to hold us and tell us that we're good enough. You know what I mean? So somebody needs to give that kid a hug. If you guys want to skip to me getting my butt beat, I think 10:28 is where I start to get socked up pretty good.
Power. Kick. Again. One more time, power.
As you can see, I'm trying something a little bit different. Instead of doing video chat through the whole video, I thought maybe I would break it up so that guys could see a little bit more, or focus a little more on the training we're doing. So proud of her. I was just watching her go. She's getting her confidence back. You know, when we were training with Polly, she was a little assassin in there, and I think that's because she was one of the more experienced kids in the ring, and she constantly had people telling her how good she was, and me, you know, I was telling her, like, you hit me really hard to the point where I have to put headgear on. And then when we went to switch to Muay Thai, all of a sudden, both kids were like super timid. Like they forgot how to throw punches. You know, they weren't turning their feet. They were just literally just standing there, like. And I was like, what are you guys doing? Did you forget everything we learned at boxing? And I don't know what it was. And I think it was just the switching of an environment and not being one of the better students messed with them a little mentally. Like they weren't able to make that switch. It's like a kid's ego. You know, kids' egos are really fragile. And the coach and we sat the kids down and we explained to them, like, hey, you gotta suck before you're good. Everybody that walks through that door sucks at first. And I raised my hand and I'm like, dude, I'm awful. I'm having a really hard time, especially like switching to my left. I'm getting it down. And I said, but you know, do you think that I lost all of my competency from all the other training we did? I mean, you still have that knowledge. You still carry that with you. So even though we're trying something new and we're not the best, we're getting better. And I think it's kind of cool because what I really want my kids to get out of this is the progression that comes with consistency and dedication. You dedicate yourself or commit yourself to a process, understanding it's going to be a process, and there's no shortcuts. There's no fast button. There's no way to get from bad to good without doing the work. You know what I mean? Like if people like, you took steroids. I'm like, yeah, I still had to lift the weight. Like the weights don't lift themselves. Like there is still a process to it, and you have to commit to it if you want to be excellent. And what I really want my kids to see, or experience rather, and I hope it clicks, is that if you commit and dedicate yourself to something and you're consistent, you show up consistently, you don't skip training, you make it a consistent effort, you see yourself getting better, And I'm cataloging it. I'm showing them right before their eyes. They're getting better. Isn't that right, baby girl?
Yeah. Where'd the chicken go?
It's in the bedroom with Mama.
Okay.
It's okay. You're okay. Good job, kiddo. Nice. Now it's my turn. Oh, this first lady I'm going against, she's bigger than me. She's way more experienced. She's one of the like professional fighters. I think she's a K1 kickboxer. I don't know if she's currently fighting or if she's retired, but she's very experienced. And I wish I had more footage of us fighting. So her and I went at it for a while because she was teaching me. She was beating my ass, but she was teaching me. Like she would explain things, you know, like when she would start hitting me, she would say, "Start fighting back." You know, she'd tell me to start hitting her back instead of defending myself. Things of that nature. Or just, you know, she was really, really super helpful. She said a couple of times I looked away when she hit me, and she said, "Don't ever do that." She was just talking me through the whole thing, but not taking it easy on me. So even though she was training me, she was whipping my ass, and it was so useful, emasculating, embarrassing, and useful. And I feel bad because I don't have more footage of it because Della wasn't manning the camera, and I got off frame, so most of her beating me up happened off camera, which is really a bummer. I don't mind showing myself getting my ass kicked. You know what I mean? Like, I was really holding my own in boxing. I was doing really, really well. I know I can hit and kick hard, and I know I can hold my own in a fight. But there's something about learning. I'm trying to learn this, and it's like, it's not committed to memory. So muscle memory, what is that? You ride a bicycle, right? You don't think about it. You just get on the bike and go. Well, what happened when you were learning and you had to think about how to stand on the pedals and the brakes? The second you have to think about applying the brakes, you forget to pedal correctly, or you start wobbling. Once it's committed to memory, it all just works. But what I'm doing is I'm thinking about what I'm going to do. Like I'm thinking, okay, I want to switch and throw a left. And while I'm thinking about that, I'm dropping my hands. I'm not concentrating properly. And even if it's just for a second, and then she wails on me, and it's super frustrating. And that's why it's important to do all the training days. You can't just do sparring. You have to do the technique days. You have to do the bag drill days. You have to do all of them because you learn that technique. It gets committed to muscle memory. And then when you spar, you don't have to think about it, and you don't get the crap kicked out of you. So I'm getting better, which is a lot of the reason why when I come home, I do what I learned in training at home on the bag by myself, just to try to reinforce it. So I'll post videos, and, you know, guys are like, "Oh, you suck," or "You're not that good. You got to do this better, do that better." And I'm like, no, get the noise out. I'm focusing on what I learned in class. I know that stuff has to improve too, but I need to focus on this. I got to get this down, and then we can focus on that. So a lot of that's kind of what that's the evolution is what you're seeing, and I'm getting better. By the time I got to my fourth sparring partner, I had my defense sorted out really nicely. I did not have my hands up high enough, and you know, started rotating, you know, fighting back, coming out of blocking, bam, 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 bam. I was doing this, and then it's, you know, it's just the timing wasn't right. You know, I found myself balling up and I couldn't react. And now I'm able to just kind of like parry and sling out of it. The feet still aren't great yet. Getting there. I can throw kicks really high. The guys were impressed. I whipped one over his head, and he was like, "Whoa, where'd that come from, Grandpa?" I said, "No, I have the ability to do it. I just don't have the ability to do it while I'm fighting you and expect to actually land it in a meaningful way, if that makes sense." He's like, "But I'll get it down. I will get it down." Man, I'm having so much fun. I feel like a kid again. One of the other things we're doing is not only are we sparring each other, but we're allowing each other to take turns trying things out. So, like, I knew this one guy wanted to try a spinning back fist. Well, you know, you want to let him try it. You know, put up some resistance, defend yourself, but, you know, maybe don't try to clinch him up or kick him while he's doing it. Like, let him try it a few times. So that's a lot of what sparring is, too. It's like a gentleman's agreement to, we're going to go hard, we're going to try to hit each other, we're going to block and do all that, but we're also going to allow each other to experiment on each other, you know, in a way that you let the guy get working. You know, don't just like try to kick his ass. So, I don't know. That kick I just threw over his head, that was the one I was talking about, where he was like, whoa, he didn't see that coming. And I was like, yeah, I can still pull those off. That's like from Taekwondo. I'm going to start incorporating some of the stuff that I learned from other martial arts. Now I'm getting a little more comfortable, because I do have the ability to kick really high, so it's just kind of getting the timing down and being able to incorporate it in a way that's actually useful. That's one thing I like about Muay Thai is it's, for the most part, it's got a low barrier of entry, because you can teach someone some basic combos, bam, bam, kick, and he can get in there and start. Kick with the left, kick with the right, do a teep, throw a jab, throw a cross. You can start. That's all you need to know. But it's also as intricate and as beautiful as you want it to be. So if you can do, you know, those question mark kicks and, you know, those, you know, like side kicks from karate or like the, you know, like the axe kicks from Taekwondo, things like that. If you can incorporate those, you can use them. They're totally legal. And I do know how to do some of that stuff. So I'm going to start kind of making it my own once I learn the footwork properly. I'm going to start incorporating some of the stuff I learned from the back in the day. It'll be fun. I'm getting excited. I go home and I think about all these things like, oh, I did that wrong. I could have done that. I should have done that. I'm like a kid. I remember like back in the day when I was like football practice and, you know, you ran for a touchdown and you couldn't sleep that night thinking about like your moment of glory. I feel like that again. God, I'm 50 years old. Why am I doing this so late? Why couldn't I get my crap together in my 30s? Hey, better late than never. If anything, I am a testament to all your older gentlemen that you can get started and do it too. And you don't have to be good. You really don't. Look at me. I'm awful. This guy's my favorite guy to train with. He's really experienced. He's been doing it for a few years. And he's the one that was helping me with my defense. He's the one that I really made some breakthroughs with, because not only would he correct me, but he would allow me to practice on him, which is a really big thing. Is having somebody that allows you to get work in. And that is kind of the whole point of sparring. It's really awesome when you can get paired with somebody that's way better than you, and they'll allow you to work on the principles. They don't just use you as a punching bag. Some of the advanced students, they're not very accommodating. Everybody's got their own thing. And when you go there for sparring, you're agreeing to train together, but they don't have to. They're students just like you are. They don't have to go out of their way and help you. But a lot of the people that are really good, it's just like powerlifting. You find that they want to help you succeed. There's a joy in being of service to others, And, you take a guy that's super experienced, like, all he has to do is work on his defense. Like, he can make it a defense day and just, like, let some laughably bad person try to punch him. He's sitting there smiling the whole time, thinking about all the different ways he could tune you up, and every once in a while they'll throw you a little jab just to remind you to keep your hands up, that kind of thing. That's super beneficial. And that's what they instructed me to do. Like, when there's somebody that's brand new that walks through the door and they pair me with them, they're like, same thing, show them what you know, go hard on them, but don't go hard on them. Don't scare the guy off. You want him to come back. You don't want to lose business. But this guy's really good. I really appreciated him letting me use him to get work in. A lot of people say midlife crisis, 50 years old. What are you doing? You're going to become a professional fighter? But they said the same thing to me about powerlifting, and that midlife crisis has lasted for 11 years, and it only keeps getting more and more. I feel like I've been dedicated to that sport, and I poured my heart and soul into it, and I've made every effort to become the best I could be, and I'm still making progress, and I'm not done powerlifting, but I can see the writing on the walls where I understand that in order to stay competitive, like ranked number 4, 3, 2, 1 in the world, competing at worlds, competing at nationals, that level requires sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice to my time, to my health, to my family. So how long am I going to do it for? That's the question. I don't know. But this seems like something that I can just get into, and I can become good at it. I can become proficient at it, and there's a ton of health benefits for as we age. It checks off a lot of the boxes. It keeps you active. It keeps you mobile. It works on flexibility, agility, critical thinking skills. Everything, and you don't have to train hard. You can train for fun, and that's one of the advertisements for the class. You train for serious, train for fun. We do both, so you can go as hard as you want to, and I think no matter what it is, you got to find something. You got to get active. A lot of people like cycling, a lot of people like hiking, a lot of people like whatever it is. I got to get people off the couch and get them moving, because that's what's killing us, man. Now, you don't have to go full retard with it like I do. But we got to do something, We want to get people going. We want to get people moving. That's my goal anyways. Yeah, midlife crisis, maybe. But I sure am having fun, and I'm definitely glad I got into it. I love you guys. I'll see you on the battlefield.